Okay, now for those of you that are regular followers of my YouTube channel, you may recall that last year I flew into an area called Talus Lodge. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with Talus Lodge, it's actually located just south of Mount Assiniboine Provincial Park. And Mount Assiniboine Provincial Park is sandwiched in between Kootenays National Park, which is on the British Columbia side, and Banff National Park, which is on the Alberta side. Now last year I went in to scope it out for possible workshops, and it ended up being just a fantastic area. The lodge itself is very comfortable. The scenery, the location is just fantastic for photography. So this year I decided to bring in a small group. I had a group of 6 people, and we spent 4 nights and 5 days at the lodge photographing the area. Okay, now even though we spent 5 days at Talus Lodge, I didn't actually take that many photographs. The video that I did take is a little bit of a hodgepodge. It's not terribly cohesive. So what I've done is I've got the clips that I did take and some of the photographs that I took, but I've also included video and photographs from the participants. So a big thanks goes out to Bruce, Devon, Doug, Raymond, Dennis and Jürgen for all helping out with this video. So I hope you enjoy it, and please be sure to leave a big thumbs up if you do. Thanks ever so much, everybody. Hello everybody, and welcome to another mini or major Adam Gibbs adventure. I'm here up at Talus Lodge. Once again, we've helicoptered in, and I brought a small group into the lodge to do a little bit of photography. And this morning we have really lucked out with the weather. Behind me here, that's shark fin, or the talon, and then over in this direction I have the group over here, Mount Assiniboine. Mount Assiniboine is over here somewhere, and sunrise is just about to happen right over here. The clouds are just starting to turn a little bit red, so we've got a full 360 degrees. It's just spectacular. As you can see, there's been quite a bit of snow up here, so really adds something to the landscape. Yesterday the weather wasn't, it was okay, but it was a bit iffy, so we didn't get any great shots, but this morning has a lot of promise. So these guys are pretty excited, so I'm with that. Right, I'm going to go and set up and see if I can catch the morning light hitting some of these peaks. Okay, now here's something that I talk about quite a lot in my videos, and I've kind of covered this in my little series about light, and that's backlit objects and the contrast in color and light. And here's a great example. Right now, I mean, there's hardly a cloud in the sky, so the light is not terribly great. But one of the reasons why I love coming to these areas like Talus Lodge, Mount Assiniboine, Yoho and Alpine Lakes is that when these trees are backlit, they just look fantastic. And one of the techniques that I use is to try and find trees that are backlit, but also have a shaded area in the background. So you'll notice that there's snow on the hill back here, but because it's in the shade and we have blue sky above, it's quite blue. So we have this blue color in the background, and then with the direct sunlight hitting this yellow tree, it has a really nice warm tone to it. So when you combine those two elements together, it creates this beautiful contrast in color and light. I have quite a few images of larch tree that are backlit with this blue cast in the back, and I just think it makes it's a great way to really add impact to your photography. So I'm going to look around this area here because the sun is kind of going in and out behind this ridge up here, so it's quite tricky because you'll compose an image and then all of a sudden the light will disappear, so you have to go and find another tree. But there's a few nice little trees like the ones back here are nicely backlit, and you'll notice that there's nothing surrounding them that's lit as well, so it creates these really simple images. Really quite beautiful. And the nice thing about larch trees is some of them have quite a bit of character. They're all kind of twisted from the wind and the weather. Now there is one aspect of photography that I haven't covered very much in my past videos, and that is night photography, capturing the night sky, the Milky Way, star trails and so on. And Talus Lodge is a fantastic place to do night photography because you're pretty much in the middle of nowhere and there aren't any towns for quite a few miles. Then the night sky doesn't have any light pollution. Now, I didn't actually take any night images, but several of the guys in my group were really quite keen about it, so they went out and spent many hours trudging around in the cold and the clear skies that we had. So here are some of the images that those guys took. Okay, now this location is absolutely fantastic. It's not very far from the lodge, and right below me here there's a cliff. It's I'm guessing it's probably 500 or 600 feet tall, and then behind these mountains right here on a clear day you can see Mount Assiniboine. Just over here we have a beautiful little cascade that kind of cascades down some rocks, and then all of a sudden it just drops off down the cliff, which is really quite spectacular, especially with the drone. But as always, I seem to be concentrating more on the details than the grand landscape. So there's a couple of little details over here that I really like. There's a couple of dead trees that are kind of leaning up against the rock wall here that have some really great textures in them. So I'm concentrating on those. And then I'm going to try and get some images of the waterfall here as well. Of course, because it's full, there's not an awful lot of water, but there's just enough to make it really quite pretty and interesting. feel quite dizzy after that. My apologies to all those that suffer from acrophobia. Thanks again to the guys for sending their images and video clips. I really appreciate it. Now, for those of you that might be interested in coming along with me to Talus Lodge in 2019, be sure to visit my website at Quiet Light Photo Adventures, where I have all the details. And to finish off with this week's video, I'll leave you with some photographs, drone footage, and a little bit of time lapse. Thanks ever so much, everybody.